Joined by Dan Mellis with Nexa Mortgage. I botched that, Dan.
No, it's all right. Arose by any other name, right?
All right. Okay, I got to stream this to my other peeps to give it a title. Oops, spelled by wrong. Sorry about this. Okay. Joined by Dan Mellis. Okay.
All righty.
Oh, I guess I better say all things real estate. Oops. This is the awkward part. I don't really know why they make you do this after you go live. They make you put in the save changes. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we're now we got titles for everything, and we're live on Facebook and what is it, YouTube, Dan?
Yes, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and you are live streaming there on TikTok?
Yeah, hi TikTokers.
I can see the complaint letters coming in already from Instagram. How come you're not on Instagram?
Hi, Roy.
Instagram.
Hi, Golden. Hi, Maui. Hi, Edward.
We'll have to add Rumble some point down the line.
Yes, we'll have to add Rumble.
Yes, we're adding Rumble. Because you know why? Because our material is so hot and so controversial that I think we have the potential to get banned on YouTube. I'm afraid of that. I'm concerned.
I'm not sure we should even mention the word ban on any of these social media channels.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, okay. Dan, you're going to get us in trouble, Dan. I keep saying that.
I have a knack. I have a knack.
You have a knack. Yep.
Yes, I do.
You start talking about those SARS reports, I got to tell you.
Oh, those SARS reports. Oh, my goodness gracious. You don't want to get involved with those things. They are tricky.
Yes.
But then you know what the problem is, if you're involved with the SARS reports, you're probably involved with some tricky clients at that point.
Tricky clients. I don't have any of those.
So if you can avoid
none of my clients are that tricky.
If you can avoid the tricky clients in the first place, you can avoid those pesky SARS reports. Yes.
That's right. Don't want any of those.
Don't want any of those. Okay. So let's get into it. We were talking about this just about 1 minute before we were coming online and going live. Yeah. And so I'm going to walk through this real quick. And the big news coming out this past week, nothing was going on. For those of you that subscribe to my morning MBS Highway Report, you will tell that the amount of material that they were adding in, there's a lot of fluff this week, right? Lots of fluff. They were adding in a bunch of junk because it was a quiet week, not much news going on. Just, you gotta, tap dance a little bit through those weeks. But anyway, it's leading up to this week, which is busy. This is going to be a busy week. And the big news of the week, early in the week at least, let's focus on the Consumer Price Index report, the CPI. Because everyone's thinking about inflation and all that stuff. And the good news, let's go right to it, because I'm going to tell a little story of what I think might happen, and it does relate. Stick with me. It does relate to the real estate market around here. So hang on. Okay, so let's go. First off, CPI is coming out. The biggest component in CPI is your shelter costs, right? And if you take a look at shelter costs, the two that are getting replaced, or the replacement numbers coming in this period are really high. So like it's at 0.74% for shelter. It's probably going to come in at about 0.2%, right? So it's going to come down quite a bit lower. And then you factor in the weighting and all that kind of stuff. And what the expectation is that it's going to go from CPI is going to go from 3.4% down to 3%, right? I mean, nothing's really been happening on the gasoline market. Rates have, gas prices haven't gone up. Oil prices haven't really gone up. Shelter is coming down. So we should see CPI coming down from 3.4 to 3%. That's a reasonable number to be estimating right now. We'll find out on Tuesday. Okay, so at the same time that that is happening, let's go to the Treasury, the 10-year Treasury bill market, right? Excuse me, the 10-year Treasury note market. How can I say Treasury bills? Anyway, Treasury note market. And what you can see, oh, goodness gracious me, hang on. There we go. Now we can see it. So what you can see is this is over the last 2 months, roughly, right? Or 3 months. And it goes back to late October where we had a peak in rates, and then the rates came down, and now we've had a counter trend rally for a slight, for rates to go back up a little bit. But what you can see is we're basically at the high part of the range for the last couple of months. And right now, I think we closed at 4.18% on the 10-year treasuries. It may go a little bit higher, but it doesn't look like we're going to be moving that much higher. And if you take a look up at the top, they have this little indicator called the RSI. It's called Relative Strength Index. And what that's showing is what they call a negative divergence. In other words, momentum is coming down, okay? And so a lot of the sell-off, the worst of the sell-off in the bond market is over. That would account for the big rise that we saw in the last week and a half. And then we're at a point where with this negative divergence, and we're at the top of the range, it sets the stage for, if we do have a good CPI report, there's a pretty darn good chance that it kicks off the next rally to lower rates, okay? So if we kick off the next rally to lower rates, I took a look at what happens to mortgage demand on the purchases, right? So that's the next thing, and there's a little video I made. So put up this little video here, and you can see October 31st, 2022 was that first peak in rates, and you could see that the purchase index was quite low at 160.5 back in October 31st, 2022. Then we had rates come down, and we saw the purchase index rates came from 6.95 down to 6.13. Then we saw the purchase index move up 27, almost 28%. And then in October 2023, the most recent period, we saw the purchase index with rates come down from 7.79 to 100. And the purchase index went from 127 down to, up to 174.3 as rates came down. And the 174.3 is as of February 5th. Okay. So we saw an increase in mortgage purchase applications go up by 37% in the last 2.5 months. And then the previous period, we saw the applications go up by 28%. So pretty close. I mean, in both cases, they came down. In one case, mortgage rates came down 0.82%, not quite a 1% decline, but close. And then the second time, it was down 1.1%. Okay, again, a nice decline, just a little over 1%. And what we've seen is a 28% increase in mortgage applications to purchase homes. And then in the second case, it was a 37% increase. And these are national numbers. We don't have a breakdown for King County or Snohomish or anything like that. They don't have data for that. But I think it's pretty representative of basically the market that we're looking at right now. If we do see rates come down again, I would not be surprised to see another 35% increase in the purchase index based on these, this recent history. And there's just not a lot of inventory to absorb the additional people coming on the market shopping for homes. So that's my little spiel for today. If you like what you see out there, it's only, odds are pretty good. If you like what you see, it's probably only going to get more expensive as we move forward through April, May, June. So that's my little bit. Now I turn over the stage to you.
Hey, Dan. Yes, the market's going up. It's going to get more expensive.
That's my long way of saying the market is going up. Yes.
There's no question. Hi, Amanda. Amanda is joining us. She shared our live.
Hello, Amanda.
She said happy Saturday to us. Hi,
Ah,
guys. Okay, we're going to get into what's happening with the individual counties now. It has, inventory is increasing a tad, and MSI, month supply of inventory, is going to start creeping up going forward. It could anyway, but it'll mean more choices for buyers. That's the good news. So we'll see what interest rates do, because if interest rates do tick down at all this spring, then there'll be a sure run on the market. It'll be a wild, wild ride. So, okay, let's get into King County. King County, 0.9 months supply of inventory, so less than 1 month supply of homes out there on the market. 725 homes were listed or are on the market at this time in King County. 53% of sellers set offer review dates over the past 7 days. 68% of sellers got under contract. If they listed between, I'm sorry, 68% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between January 21st and January 27th. Is that right?
yeah, that's right.
It is right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. I just thought we're into February, and it kind of caught me off guard. Okay. And then 69% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market. And that's if they listed between January 7th and January 20th. So King County, 68% is a really big number for getting under contract within the first 7 days. That represents almost 3/4 of the sellers getting under contract within the first week, meaning multiple offers, probably in nearly every situation. So there's going to be a few that maybe only got one offer, but it means that you're competing. So there's going to be, I know agents that have written 3 or 4 offers in the last week or two and have not been able to get their buyers into a house. So it's happening. It's going to be a tough market. So Snohomish County, it still sits at 0.6 months supply of inventory. So that really equates to about 2.5 weeks. If you think about it, that's not much inventory. That's a real short supply. Only 231 homes are actually on the market in Snohomish County, which Snohomish County is a big county. That's not very many houses. So that's about that's about a third of what's on the market in King County. And King County, to be fair, usually is about double.
Right.
But Snohomish County is really short on supply right now. 53% of sellers set offer review dates in the last 7 days. 71% of sellers got under contract if they listed between January 21st and January 27th. 77% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days if they listed between January 7th and January 20th. So big numbers. Really big. 71% of sellers getting under contract within the first 7 days on the market is a huge, huge number for this time of year.
You know what? Can I suggest something?
Sure.
If you have not gotten under contract in the first 2 weeks of Snohomish, up in Snohomish County or King County, because those are big numbers for both, and if you haven't, you need to purchase Kat Howard's free listing guide. Well,
yeah. What you need to do is you need to call me. Get a hold of my Stats by Kat. At least sign up for the Stats by Kat, so you, as a seller, you know exactly what's going on. I'm not trying to steal anybody else's clients. I'm just saying the information.
No,
the information.
It means you need a, what do they call that? It's like a makeover or something like that, like a listing makeover. That's what we should have on the real estate channel. Listing makeover for people that have screwed up their listings, haven't done what you say, and they end up after 2 weeks still sitting there with their house, and they're getting more nervous by the day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they just need to sit down with their agent and come up with a game plan. It could be that the house is just so unique that it's going to take more than the average number of buyers to get through there, and that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to sit on the market more than a couple of weeks. But if you are a traditional home, in a traditional style neighborhood, then there's, probably no reason you shouldn't be able to get under contract within the first couple of weeks. And it actually should be in the first 7 days, to be fair.
I wanna throw in an apology for those that have not gotten under contract in 2 weeks. I wasn't trying to cause any anxiety or anything. Smart Alex during a very anxious period of time. So I apologize for that right up front. There you go. Anyways, that's not all I had.
Yeah. So Pierce County, 1.1 month supply of inventory. So they did creep up a little bit. 633 homes are currently on the market in Pierce County. 28% of sellers set offer review dates. 48% of sellers in Pierce County went under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between January 20th. No, if they listed between January 21st and January 27th. 55% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 7th and January 20th. Pierce County. So 48%, not quite as hot a market as it is in Snohomish and King counties, but it is heating up. Those are better numbers than where we were a couple of weeks ago for Pierce County. So that's still half the sellers getting under contract within, the first 7 days. So remarkable, I think.
Yeah.
Really good numbers. Mason County, 2 months supply of inventory. They only have 87 homes on the market. So it's a county with a smaller population. So 20% of sellers in Mason County set offer review dates. 33% of sellers got under contract if they listed their house. 33% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between January 21st and January 27th. And 57% of sellers in Mason County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 7th and January 20th. So Mason County, so that's 33 and 57. Did I say that right, Dan?
You did.
Okay. I got it. This row of stats up here, and I'm trying to read across. I even have them color coordinated, so I try to stay on focus there. So Skagit County, 1.6 months supply of inventory. Only 98 homes on the market in Skagit County. Again, a population smaller than King and Snohomish counties for sure. Nobody set an offer review date in Skagit County, and that's not surprising. 40% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between January 21st and January 27th. 44% of sellers in Skagit County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 7th and January 20th. So again, 40 and 44%, those are pretty good numbers for 7 and 14 days, getting sold within 7 and 14 days on the market. And those numbers are picking up too.
Right.
So the market is picking up in all the counties.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to Kitsap next, and you can really see.
I think I've got a typo on that one. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hold on. That second number's not right. Hold on. Where's my stats book? Hold on. Here it is. That's a typo. All right. There we go. My handy dandy little stats book here, you guys.
If I was Emily Lutella, I would say, oh, never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Kitsap County. So let's see. It's just the last number that's wrong, Dan. So that's supposed to say 51. So okay. Yeah. So Kitsap County, you guys, 1.1 month supply of inventory. Yep. 176 homes currently on the market. 24% of sellers set offer review dates. 50% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between January 21st and January 27th. And 51% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 7th and January 20th.
Aha.
So 51%. Yeah. So, the truth is that what that shows is the 51% is, respective to January 7th to January 20th. So it really was the second and third week of January. And the
Yep.
more recent data, January 21st to January 27th, is just a little over a week old. And that's really where the market's headed. So it's getting hotter and hotter in Kitsap County. They're really kind of coming into their own right now. So it's multiple offers on half of the listings that come on the market now, which is, and there's my daughter in Kitsap County calling right now. It's not supposed to disturb me. Somehow she breaks through that, you know, and you put on, I have do not disturb on.
I think that's pretty awesome that the #1 realtor in Kitsap County is calling to complain about the 11% on the 2-week number. She's saying, no, that's the wrong number. She was calling in. Mom, you need to correct that quick.
Mom, don't be putting that shit out there, Mom. So anyway, so that's what's happening in the counties. I think I've got a few listings coming on the market in the next couple months. It'll be interesting to watch and see what happens. One of them is essentially an estate sale. It's you know, the family doesn't really want to do anything with the home, and so it makes it a little more challenging because you're going to have to price it.
That's a fix,
you know, to sell it without all the bells and whistles. So it's, you know, they're gonna have it clean, and that's about it. So
I'll tell you, that is a flipper's opportunity right now.
it is, and the sellers are gonna take a bath, you know.
Yeah,
so I'm sorry about that. It makes me, I told myself it makes me sad, you know, because I know if they put 25, 30 into it, that they get an extra 50 or 60. So it, to me, math wise, it makes a lot of sense. But for other people, it's also, you know, it looks like time, and, you know, even though the contractors do all the work, they really wouldn't even have to show up. I mean, I can handle the whole thing, and I would. But sometimes people just don't want to deal with it, and they don't want to try to come up with the cash in the meantime, and to do the different things, you know.
Good luck with it. Hopefully you max everything out and do the best you can.
Gonna do the best I can. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway,
it's sort of like, I hate to use this analogy, but it's sort of like stepping into the boxing ring against Muhammad Ali and then tying one hand behind your back. It's going to be tricky.
Yeah, it is harder. It's, you know, I mean, because one, you don't want to underprice it. At the same time, you know, you can't be anywhere near the shiny objects. So, you know, in this case, it would be a situation where you could just move in. The carpets will need stretching. They probably should be replaced. It needs paint on the inside, paint on the outside. So, you know, and some of that stuff a buyer could do on their own, right? The paint, it's a Rambler, so you can paint the outside fairly easily, scrape it and paint it. You know, the interior would be easy it's got a really light texture on the walls. So it would actually be fairly easy for a homeowner to take care of that.
You know what you could say about this house? If I were a realtor, what I would say about it? See, I'm getting the realtor thing down a little bit, talking to you every week.
Yeah, that's right.
Great learning experience. my, like, if I were doing a listing on this, I'd say it's got great bones. Great bones.
You have no idea how many agents say that in their listings. And it does have good bones, and it's a 4-bedroom, so it's going to be, you know, I think it'll sell fairly quickly just because of the neighborhood it's in.
Overlook the carpet stains and the needs for the
it's just not an opportunity for me to showcase what I can do, you know, the magic I can perform for a listing. So
this is terrible. You've got the most smart alecky co-host today. I apologize for that. It's really just flowing.
Damn.
I think it's a Saturday. That's the reason. It's coming out
Saturday.
No, probably just because it's my natural inclination. So I'm sorry.
Your natural inclination. Okay, so do we want to talk about staging tips today? I mean, this is for those sellers that
it's an especially important topic considering what we were just talking about. Staging tips, because
so this is for those people that really do want to maximize their home's potential on the market, and it does make a huge difference, staging. And there are all different levels of staging. you do want to be very thorough. You don't have to stage fully, but it's advisable to put something in every room, because you want buyers to be able to distinguish one bedroom from another bedroom, right? So you put a desk and a chair and a plant or a picture in one room, so that at least you can tell that that's that room. Then you do something different in another room, and etc. So that buyers can easily see, okay, these are the 4 bedrooms. So, but the first one is, first piece of advice is declutter and depersonalize. And I will say that, take the family photos down, put them away. Many times I see family photos out, and they're great for you and your family. But you want the buyer to connect with the home and imagine themselves living there. And if they take a look and they see your cute family pet or your cute kids' pictures on the walls, or the wedding photos and things, I mean, as much as we love to visit someone's house and see that stuff, you do not want that on the wall, because the buyer will no longer be able to envision themselves there. They see you there. So the other thing is that if you have taxidermy, and you have no idea how many people I run into that actually do. So
you mean like a treasured deer head on the wall or something like that? Is it, you would
or 20 turkeys? You know who you are.
20 turkeys. So
I tell you what, actually, it was more than 20. I think they had hundreds of different animals
stuff
on the walls, and it was impressive. They're hunters, and it was impressive in a tiny little house, 1,300 square foot house.
Wow.
It was impressive. And we had to have someone come in and repair the walls. And the guy I got, he's a flipper, and he made them look perfect. You could never tell there was ever a hole in the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, Yuri down in Renton. He's a good guy.
If I was buying a house with all those, animal heads hanging on the wall, I would probably have nightmares. I wouldn't sleep very well. It would kind of freak me out, to be honest with you. I'm not a natural born hunter. That's the problem.
Well, and I think you either kind of are a hunter or you're not, and I don't think there's a lot of in between there. I have very mixed feelings about it. So, I think if you eat what you kill, then I feel better about it. I also feel better about it, if you're abiding by the guidelines, right? The hunting guidelines, because there's, it's about population control of certain species. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like Ducks Unlimited is, a good organization. And I don't think people appreciate that you do need population control, because we don't have as many of the natural predators as we used to have, because we get rid of them because we're humans. So, this is probably not a topic I should be talking about on lives. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Hi, guys. Hi, Gerald. We'll get on the taxidermy topic. Don't take the taxidermy off the walls if you're selling your house. That's all I got to say. I should not go down that rabbit hole.
Well, I am guilty for getting you into this predicament.
You get me in trouble, Dan.
Yes, it's all my fault. It is.
We'll blame it on Dan.
And we've only gotten under the listing. What are we at?
That's the first one. Declutter and depersonalize your house if you're going to put it on the market. So
I've already screwed up this conversation at the first stop. I'm going to shut up and let you get through the rest of them, because there's so many more.
Well, sometimes I like your commentary, Dan.
Sometimes you do. And sometimes you don't.
Anyway, so number 2, maximize curb appeal. So, that's really a lot of that's landscaping, right? So you want to make sure you get the, replace the bark or add additional fresh bark if you've got areas that could use bark. In the Pacific Northwest, we often have a lot of, I don't know why my phone keeps ringing. My focus is on.
Anyway. You know why it is? They're watching us on either YouTube or Facebook and complaining about they're calling in to complain. They're like, who's that co-host?
They think that I'm the complaint department.
The complaint department. Who's that idiot that you're talking to? That's what they're asking. Anyways, sorry, we've got
so back to number 2, which is curb appeal. So part of curb appeal, is also exterior paint, your front door, the front door handle, the sidewalks leading up to the front door, your driveway. So having those hard surfaces pressure washed, making sure there's fresh paint on your house and on your front door, even to the point of replacing the front door if you think it would benefit you. You know, a really nice front door can make a big change in your curb appeal. So people like to see a nice front door, a modern front door with a modern door handle.
With the you know what the modern door handle does? You go like that. You go down like that instead of a knob. You don't want to have
not a lever either, Dan. No.
Oh, you don't want a lever.
He gets this wrong. He always thinks I mean a knob, like a round knob. No. Not a lever either. No, levers are for back doors where you like use your elbow. You got your groceries in your hand. You use your elbow to open the door, and you come in the house carrying your groceries, right? So, but the front door needs the little latch where your thumb pulls it down. A handle. It's a handle, a modern handle. Come on, guys.
That's the
round knob. The round knob is for the bedroom. The little round knob. Those are hard to, you know.
They can be
they don't have the shooshing effect. You know, my daughter and I like to see if we could shoosh that place up. You know, so the round knob doesn't have the shooshing effect.
That doesn't
you know, I shoosh my hair. You know.
You were shooshing your hair right before we came on. Shushing. We were talking about that.
This whole idea of staging is shushing it up.
Just making it look good.
We're prettying it up. So
okay. So is that number 2 or number 3?
That was number 2. So number 3 is highlight key features. So, you know, if you've got, you know, so for instance, you can arrange furniture to highlight certain areas, right? That's the whole idea of staging, is to maximize. Like if you have a beautiful view, you want to make sure that people can walk up to those windows, right? So create walkways to a space where it's a beautiful view. So, but also, you know, so what else can I think of? Like, you know, Dan, okay, I picked Dan. Dan has his hand in the air. Okay, Dan, what do you got to say?
Hello, Mrs. Cotter. That would lead us to, I think you should wash your windows and clean the window sills. What do you think about that idea? That's a pretty good idea. I mean, if you're going to draw people to the window, right? Yes. Beautiful view. I think it would be a good idea to wash the windows.
And that's part of, getting your house ready for the market. We're talking about staging, but part of that preparation of getting your home ready for the market would be having your windows and your window tracks cleaned inside and out. And I've got a guy, this guy, Tim, I swear to God, he makes the windows, every single window, look brand new. And this is no joke. So you get him out there one time and it's going to cost you money. He's going to charge you. He's going to be there all day too, you guys. But I will tell you, you will be so happy.
I was only laughing because I was about to say, and you've got a guy. And then as soon as
I've got a guy.
You've got a guy, Tim.
He also will pressure wash. He does other things too, and clean roofs. He's not the cheapest guy in town, but he's careful. And there's a lot to be said for careful. So he's been doing this a long time, and he knows what he's doing. Yeah. So if it can be done, he'll do it. And but he's also not astronomical. He's not very expensive. And you guys, I have him do my own windows. I don't do them every year, but I do them probably every couple of years, have him come out, and I'm due to have those done. So he'll probably be out in a month or so doing my windows so I can see through them a little nicer. And plus he gets rid of all the bugs and, so grime. It's nice to do that, right? It's nice to do that for yourself. You get like a little mold around there because you get moisture all the time around the windows, and it's nice to get that cleaned up. So anyway, but so number four is create functional spaces. So if you have an area in your home that is awkward, we want to make that look like it's super intentional. So if you don't have a piece of furniture to fit that area, we would want to have a stager come in and bring a particular piece of furniture or items to make that look like it's so intentional. So I've had awkward spaces when I've staged homes before. Sometimes I used to go out and rent the furniture, for my clients and then arrange it, etc. And yeah, you do look for specific pieces of furniture for certain areas that might be awkward so that you can make those feel more intentional. And boy, it can make all the difference because now you've got a space that is actually usable. So you make that awkward space functional. So that's another thing. Number 5 is let in natural light. I usually at this point, with our desired aesthetics these days, more modern aesthetics, I actually like to have my clients take down draperies usually, as well as window coverings. If you're living in the home, that's much more difficult to implement if you need privacy, right? So you might not be taking those down, but it kind of, it's more of a minimalist feel. That's the, and so when you're taking photographs, some of the more elaborate mansions and certain styles of homes, it would be completely inappropriate to take down draperies. So it is going to be always discussed on a case-by-case basis, but the more light you can let in typically is better.
Right.
That makes sense. So it helps it sell. The other thing I always like to mention, and Dan and we go dive deep on windows. We dive deep on windows. We want them clean. We want them to sparkle. And we also don't want to see those screens. So you take the screens off, and actually you don't have to do it, Tim will. You don't have to do anything.
Man, Tim is the man.
If he was watching, he would be laughing. Matter of fact, I should take this portion of the show and send it to him. Get a kick out of that, my service providers. So, no, Tim will. He'll take your screens off and he'll put them in the garage for you, because that's what I always ask. As a good listing agent, you want the Matterport and the high definition photography and cinematography. You want that, the clear glass to see what's outside. It just makes the final product look better. The media.
Right.
So another one is I like to use are mirrors to make spaces look bigger or brighter. Not too many, but there can be certain key locations where it can really enhance a room or a space, by reflecting light from another window back into the room, or even reflecting a view from across the room. So there can be really, good applications for using a mirror. So another one, number 7 would be adding fresh touches like vases of flowers or greenery, or other natural elements. So
that's a good touch,
yes. Yeah, so between wood and then, wood and fresh plants or flowers, it's just there's something very organic, I guess is the word, organic about that combination. And so we have a lot of for one thing, like our cabinets are wood, a lot of times our floors are wood now, and a lot of times tables, right? Tables will either glass or wood, and glass is sparkle, and wood is organic. And if you add the fresh plants or flowers to that environment, it does a really nice thing that humans like. No, I'm not phrasing that appropriately. It's too early in the morning, guys. My brain is not engaging. But you know what I mean, right? So you get, that's why you bring flowers to a friend's house when you go visit them, right? It does a nice thing to the room.
Right.
So, and I will load my house up. I really love white flowers, and I used to have these snowball trees, and I would literally put vases of snowballs in every corner of the rooms. I mean, I love having fresh flowers in the house. I also like growing plants in the house, but I don't have that green of a thumb. My blouse is green. My thumbs are not. Well, so I have to rely on cut flowers. So I grow those in my garden, and I bring those inside.
You know, the nice thing about not having a green thumb is you can always get the artificial ones too, and they never go out of season, ever.
Oh, Dan, don't say that. I don't want people doing that. Don't listen to Dan. No, don't buy fake flowers. There are some really nice ones that sometimes it's really difficult to tell that they're even artificial. And if they're fresh and they actually do look real, then it is actually okay. But you wouldn't want to overdo that because then it becomes an obvious.
If they're fresh fake flowers, they're okay?
New.
Oh,
fake,
new.
Oh, new. Fresh, new, whatever you want. Yeah. Again, Saturday morning early. What'd you do Friday night? I'm yelling at my screen.
You know what? Believe it or not, no, you're yelling at me because we were talking about Friday night and I failed. I was going to go out to drinking and I didn't go and I didn't drink a drop. Not one.
You didn't have any?
Nothing.
Well, no wonder you were up at the crack of dawn this morning.
I was up. And
I did not follow that vow of abstinence.
Yes, I just decided, we have this big live stream coming up tomorrow.
Oh, and if I listened to you, I would be in better shape today. I didn't. I went to a girlfriend's house. Of course, I couldn't drink hardly anything there because I had to drive home, right? So you get one lousy glass of wine. But then I partook when I got home.
Okay, so what was number 7?
No, that's only 7. We got more to go. So and Fresh Touches was number 7.
Fresh Touches, yes.
Yeah, that can really help a house look
fresh fake flowers. Nice.
So neutralized color palettes. So yeah, you like purple. Probably not going to use that in every room in your home when you're trying to stage it, right? We really want to use kind of make everything more neutral.
But you know what? If you went with purple with the gold trim, you could call it the Husky room.
Right? You could also call it a Vikings room.
Or Vikings room, yes, you could.
If you're from Minnesota, you know what I mean. So you are going to want to neutralize your color palettes. And so what we're talking about there is we're really talking about wall color. So, if you do have bright furniture, there are ways we can tone that down with maybe a big throw over the back or some nice neutral pillows. But we're going to want to, make your home feel cohesively neutral. So you're going to want to make the walls, if you got some bright rooms, you want to paint those, even if they're small. I will tell you that I went to a home over in Echo Falls Country Club area probably 22 years ago. I was out showing this cute little couple, Brian and Roxanne. I think their last name was Peterson. Anyway, so long ago, they don't even live here anymore, but they had a young family at the time. And we walked into the house and took a look at the powder room, and it was purple. And I mean, it was purple. It wasn't lavender. It was purple. And I'll never forget that room, and they'll never forget it. And we've always called it the purple bathroom house. So you leave the house identifying it by the characteristic that stands out in an obnoxious way. You don't want people remembering your house like that. You want them to remember something else. Like I've got clients, I think it was Amanda and Heidi. We saw the black toilet house. I'm sorry. It's just, that's what happens. And I remember the house perfectly. There was a lot to like about it, but it was characterized as the black toilet house.
So I'm just guessing that the Peterson.
That's hard to change though. So if you got black toilets, you might not change those. But
not much you can do about those. But the Petersons probably did not buy the.
They did not buy the purple bathroom house. No.
And Amanda and Heidi did
not buy the black toilet house.
Did not buy
the. You can't have a house that's identified by a characteristic that's negative. So. Or could be viewed as too bright, right? So there are certain things that are really easy to change. Toilets and bathroom fixtures are not that easy to change. If it's just one toilet that's black, get a white one. We'll say that. I've run into houses with a blue toilet seat. The toilet's white and there's a blue toilet seat. I'm like, don't do that. change out that blue toilet seat to a white one.
Put
Again, people will remember it as the blue toilet seat house.
Put it on the Windermere Ready tab.
Yes, Windermere Ready program will provide you with funds from your equity in your home to shoosh it up, to spruce it up.
It needs shushing.
We gotta shoosh that puppy. So then number 9 is Number 9 is highlight outdoor living spaces. And this is actually pretty important. I think this gets overlooked a lot. There are amazing opportunities on most properties to put a nice, you can just use the Adirondack chairs, and they can be brightly colored because it's appropriate. So you can use the red ones because red will make the green grass look greener because it's opposite on the color wheel. You artists will know what I'm talking about. You can use the green ones. You can use almost any color of Adirondack chair, and it's okay if it's outdoors and they're the same color.
I have a question about that's come up. I apologize for breaking in again.
No, you can interrupt anytime you want, Dan. This is the Cat and Dan show.
Okay.
I would make a funny looking Dan.
Thanks. Okay, so I have a question on that. I think it would be a good idea. Let's say you're going into spring and it's, a decent spring day and you have a barbecue in the backyard. How about turning on the barbecue and put like some hot dogs out there and stuff so people can see themselves barbecuing in the backyard and entertaining their friends? Is that a good idea or not a good idea?
No, Dan, that's a terrible idea. Now you're inviting the homeowner to be there cooking in front of the buyers. It's a backyard barbecue. Now the buyers will never buy the place because they've seen the guy cooking.
Oh. Well, so much for my
idea. Once they own the house, they can, have
my career as a realtor has just gone down the tubes.
I'm afraid you wouldn't make it, Dan.
I would
not. Your job is you're the money guy.
Stick to the numbers, buddy.
Dan's the money guy.
Yeah. Who's taking the vow of poverty?
So
many contradictions in one loan officer.
What's that, Dan?
I said so many contradictions in one loan officer. What can I say? Okay, so we're up to number 9.
Number 10.
We're number 10.
So finishing touches, number 10. So, like adding fluffy white towels to the bathroom instead of some old towels, right? That are, maybe not as bright. So just do white fluffy towels, and you can get those at Costco
for Target
fairly inexpensively, and they're pretty fluffy. So, but freshly made beds, for beds, for staging, we really kind of like to go a little over the top with extra bedding and extra pillows, maybe even adding a tray, especially in the primary bedroom with, a few things on it,
like
bottle of wine and and a couple wine glasses, or, a little platter with some napkins or, something. So, just to make it feel like it's more like an Airbnb situation or a fancy hotel.
Yeah.
So we really do like to do that. But it's, those kinds of things can make a big difference on how people view your home. So just adding some shushing. I don't know how you spell that, but
shushing. It's
not really a word, I don't think. We kind of made that up. My daughter and I coined that. Actually, I think she coined it. Shushing.
Shushing up. We got to shush up the hair before the live stream.
Yeah, and that shushing the hair is like, running your fingers through it and then fluffing it and hairspraying it. It's shushing, right?
I do the same thing.
What I do? You know what shushing is?
I do this all
the time. Is shushing the house. That's the whole show's been about shushing.
Okay, so that was what number
was that? Number 10. That's number 10, I think. Is that the last one, Dan?
I'm not sure. Do we have 10 or 11?
I don't know. Do you have another one?
No.
I don't either. I think it was just 10.
Just 10.
Because that was finishing touches. So that was about it. That was just tips for staging. Obviously you're really going to want to rely on a professional stager. I'm pretty good, But I would prefer if my clients would actually have allow me to bring a stager in, even if they're going to occupy the property and we're going to use most of their own furniture. That way I can not be picking on my clients, right? Or telling them what to do with their things. And I'll leave that to another professional so that they, it's not me telling them to take down their favorite taxidermy or their favorite family photos.
You know what I'm laughing about? This would have been a good episode for Seinfeld. Do you remember Seinfeld episode where Jerry's dating Jane Leaves, and she was from Frasier at the time, I think, right? And so he's dating her, and Jerry, every episode he has a new girlfriend and he finds something wrong with her, right? So this is the one where she does the indoor closets, and she says, "I see hooks everywhere. Hooks, take down all the hooks." So I could just see some staging. They should make like a little comedy out of it, and then they like the Seinfelds come in as a stager. I see hooks on the wall, hooks. Never mind. So anyway, never mind. I am just kind of. I'm just burning up this doggone live stream.
Dan is just Dan just went down a rabbit hole.
Yes,
we love Seinfeld, so can't help it. All right. Well, I didn't put together an investment property to go over today because they're really there's a couple that just came on the market in Bremerton that I want to run the numbers on really quick, but I feel like they were just priced a little bit on the high side.
Yeah,
I'll take a look at those for next week. But I like to go over an investment property, but I think we're kind of running out of time anyway, aren't we, Dan?
Yep.
Pushing the edge of the envelope.
Well, pushing the edge of the envelope. Yes, we are.
Okay, well, thank you for joining, you guys. TikTok land, Facebook, YouTube.
Thank you. If you've hung in this far, you deserve a better mortgage rate. I'm going to have to cut my fees even more. If you've hung with us this long, man, that you're a glutton for punishment, and I owe you. So you have to figure out how I can improve your rates if you've hung in this.
Well, Dan, he always does get my clients the best rates. So
I try. I do the best I can.
All right. I'm going to say goodbye to TikTok land. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you guys actually probably in a few days, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, hopefully. All right. Bye.
Yes. Thank you. They're on, what are we looking at here on YouTube and Facebook? We're going to end the stream. Click the button.
I had people